Good to have you guys. We'll be eating breakfast here in a little bit, and like I tell everybody, if you guys got to go early, don't leave hungry. Fill your plate, and you ain't gonna bother anybody here by up there filling the plate. So get you something to eat and head on out if you got to go quickly. So good to have you guys. I'm gonna spin on up real quick because I know last time Joe and we got quite a while, so I'm gonna try not to take too much of Bill's time this morning. So I want to hit on Encounter. Can I get a show of hands of who's been to Encounter in this room? Pretty good number. Now, y'all are going to think we're doing jumping jacks here by the end of this, but I assure you we're not. So, who's not been to Encounter before? Almost 50-50. So, can I ask the guys that have been, did you get a lot out of it? Does anybody want to just pipe up? Did you guys get a lot out of it, the guys that have been to Encounter? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually one of the first times I've seen men being real men, being transparent and open and honest about the stuff they've done in their lives, and it really impacted me in that way.
Yeah.
God transforms your life, but this is a tool and a stepping stone that can help with that transformation.
Amen.
And they lift up the Son of Man.
Words can't explain what you go through, guys.
Yep. Can I ask on the other side of that? And I know there's people, maybe guys that have been that maybe didn't get a lot out of it. Being honest. Anybody here that's been that just didn't get a lot out of it?
This will be my third time going, and I know you guys have been way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I've been, I get something out of it.
Yeah. Sure.
Not like you go there once and you've learned it all, know it all, you're done. Every time God has something new for you.
Oh, amen. Can you guys hear us all right? Hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So guys, I know on that second question, I know for a fact. I know some men and women that have been to Encounter, and they hated it. They hated it. It was not for them. But that number, I can count on one hand. It wouldn't even take up my whole hand because it's that number right there. It's been that few. And like you said, I don't know how many we've been to now, and we've known the number of men and women that have been to Encounter and really enjoyed it and found growth from it is truly a number that's too great for me to count. It's been that impactful to people. So, guys, I want to go into because Joe and I had our lives transformed, just like you said, transformation. Because we had our lives transformed and have been blessed to witness others, have their lives also transformed from meeting Jesus through this vehicle called Encounter. We have decided to start an Encounter scholarship. With the extra, you guys, I told you guys from day one that this was a free gift, just like Jesus is a free gift for each and every one of you. It's free. I wanted this to be free. The guys that were fishing are the guys that have been maybe hurt by church. They don't know nothing about church. All they've seen is maybe the TV shows, the TV preachers, and I'm not saying nothing against them guys or the giving. I thought about that last month. I said, you know, you always turn on TV and there's always somebody wanting something, right? Now them guys, they got their ministries and they're not cheap to run, you know, and it takes something. So I don't want to knock on that, but we've been blessed here and I can afford some biscuits and gravy and feed you guys, and luckily Bill and these guys don't charge me too much to come up here and talk. So it's a free deal. Surprise. So anyways, it's a pretty cheaply ran operation, and I've had a lot of guys, the whole speakers and sound system guys have donated and helped us out on. But beyond all that, y'all still been giving, you know, and I've told you I've had to go around the shop and pick up stuff off the floor and off the workbenches and whatnot, and that's why that's why that's there now.
Mm.
I hated seeing the money laying around for the guys that maybe can't give money, and to feel guilty, and I do not want that. So that's a secret deal there. Just you can put it there, but we want you guys to know that anything above and beyond what the expenses have been here, which, like I said, are minimal, we want to pay for you first-time guys, and guys that find the money side of it hanging them up on going to encounter. We want to take that burden off of your shoulders, and we want to be a gift to the first timers through Christ-Coffee-Campfire to send you to encounter. It's that.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, John.
Would you mind, since some of us haven't been to Encounter, and we've been to other men's charges, things like that. What are the, in a nutshell, what are the topics and what are the emphasis?
That's encounter. I can't tell you much about it. That's a joke. That's a running joke, somewhat. Yeah, and go snipe hunting. Yeah, there's guys help me out that can word it better than me, but basically there's 14 areas of a man's life that they take a deep dive in, and the way I've looked at it, something that I get out of it is you truly will understand who Jesus is and what he did for you. That is explained in a way that I'd never seen it before. It truly had my eyes open. I mean, we know. If you're sitting here, you probably know who Jesus is, and you know what he did for you. But do you know? Do you truly know? Have you truly seen that, I guess, with your heart? And
Relationship.
Yeah.
And then taking that relationship vertically, horizontally, is about what they work on. How to be a godly man with your family, your wife, your kids, friends. The whole repentance, forgiveness, just all that. Like you said, there's 14 areas they work on.
How to be an example in life for others to follow.
How to get rid of your burden, man. What you pack, all that baggage we pack around with us, Just leave it at the cross. Yep.
So, and the name of it says it all too. Like I said, there's men's retreats and things like that, but this is encounter. We're not retreating from nothing. We're encountering Christ head on. He's encountering us head on. So.
Yeah, I had something. For me, seeing other men going through the same things that I had gone through that I was ashamed to speak about was intensely impactful for me. And then the love between the men, like just being able to be open and honest and real, and then a guy telling you like, man, I've been through that too. Just like here, I mean, it's a small taste of that, but it was really helpful for me.
Something else that I think helpful is they don't force you to do anything. Some things you go to, they highly encourage you and kind of bother you and push you to do things, participate, speak, serve, things like that. No one forces you to do anything. You're there totally voluntarily, and you can go at any time, at any session, you need to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. You want to just go outside, take a break, you do. Nothing. It's all voluntary, and that's huge for guys that maybe aren't sure why they're there or what they're doing there, or if they even want to be there, or no pressure.
Yeah, Brandon's exactly right, and that's I've had that brought to me before that, hey, I don't want to be put on the spot. I don't know nothing. Well, I don't know nothing. We're not going to. They're not going to put you on the spot. It's no different here, guys. It's exactly like he said too. That or Jake said this. That's how this came about. You know, it was it's on our hearts to from day one. Once God spun us around to have an environment to fish for guys, to get more guys, and this is a mini encounter. The guys, Bill Hackworth, Wes Geyer that spoke last month, all these guys, you can go all the way back. These guys are encounter guys. These guys are encounter speakers. That's what you get at encounter is guys just like this, just like us, just like you up there speaking the truth, what God did to their lives. That's all it is. It's a testimony. Hey, this is the crap I was going through, and this is the crap he pulled me out of.
Mask off.
Yep, absolutely. So, and no different than here. You guys have run into it. There's somebody here that you don't know, and you get to talking to them, and your stories are not that far apart. So it's a lot of that. So does that help out, John? Yeah. Guys, I want to tell you that. With that scholarship deal, we're going to run it this year and just see how it goes. I'm looking 2 or 3 encounters. We got one coming up at the end of this month. Jack will have his, and then something else probably through the year. We'll just see how we're going on that. So that's plans, guys. I want to throw this out there for any of you old dogs that have been. I know it's on your heart too. If you're willing to sponsor somebody, if you're not going and you have a little extra money in your pocket that you'd be willing to sponsor a guy, we'll hook you up so you can sponsor somebody that's going that could use the help. Either they're a first timer or they could just use the help to go. So if you're interested in that, talk to Joe or I about it, and we'll hook you up with somebody to get him signed up and all that stuff. So that make sense?
One for the women too, so their lives about all that beauty.
Yep.
And a marriage encounter in November.
Yep. There's a bunch of good stuff going on, guys. So I told you I wasn't going to talk long, and here I am. At the end of the day, guys, it's got to be known. Encounter's not going to save you. You sitting in a chair out here in the shop today is not going to save you. Your perfect church attendance ain't going to save you. Your religion ain't going to save you. It's only that relationship with Jesus Christ, having your heart transformed, and following Him and having that relationship with Him. That at the end of the day, that's what matters. Okay, guys. So I appreciate you. This may sound a little sappy, but I love you guys. I truly do. We do. A few years ago, you wouldn't have caught me dead up here. Joe and I talked about last night. A few years ago, we wouldn't have been in the shape to have been up this early in the morning to have been out here, and here we are. So if he can do that with a couple of knuckleheads, there's hope for each and every one of you. So.
Right on. Morning, guys. So I'm going to start off and say Happy New Year. Here we are. We got a new one going around. I'm not much on resolutions because they never seem to be able to hang on to them. But we can aim at things, right? So anyway, housekeeping a little bit, particularly for you new guys, but even you guys who have been a little bit that maybe have never made it up here to our info table. It's pretty formal, as you can see. But come check it out because there's a lot of stuff here. You guys, you see in our shirts up here and the cups, I want to say, and like I said, you guys have heard this before that's been here a few times. Them are tools. Them ain't about promoting this or making money. This is about, it's a pass-through deal. My mom-in-law volunteered to do it. And we love that fact that she's able to serve through that way. And so, but it puts tools in your hand. And what I mean by that is it just gives you something that somebody can look at and say, what is that? I like that cup. I like that shirt. What is that all about? And maybe you can start that conversation and be able to invite them out. And that's the goal of all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that, see me afterwards. We can get you hooked up. We've got some other things on here. On the far side of that 3-drawer file, there's a list we're working on, and it's going to be a working process of getting a reminder list. And some of you guys, I said last month, that's been here pretty regular, you're on it, unless you don't want to be. But for others who may not be on there, put your name on there. We're going to try to get something worked out where, like on the Thursday prior to this, we can send out just a mass reminder and say, hey, because we've had guys forget, and I see them later and they're like, man, I wish I remembered that. And so we don't want you to miss it. So put your name on there. Whiteboard notification. I've mentioned this, and we've not had a lot go on it, which is okay. But if you guys have events, this is your all's board back here. If you've got a serving opportunity coming up, if you've got a prayer need, anything like that, just put it on there. Put some information on there, draw a line so the next person can do it. If it's an upcoming event, we'll probably update it. If we see it on there, for the next one, we'll go ahead and write it on there and get it covered. So there's a marker there. Please, that's your guys' board, so use that for that purpose. 3-drawer box there is our small groups box. There's one ladies group, and I think there's 6 or 7 now small groups for men. If you're not in a small group, guys, just check it out. Pop in if you have to. It ain't something you have to commit to. I know sometimes we got so much going on in our lives that it's just too much to say, man, now I got to show up to this deal all the time. But we want to encourage you. Whoop, did you lose me? Uh-oh.
Duracell ain't what they used to be.
Well, we'll see. How about that?
There you go.
Okay. Anyway, so check them out, please. And you can, like I said, in them small groups, you can pop right in on them. It doesn't have to be an all-the-time commitment, but the guys that are putting those things on put a lot of effort into it. They'd love to have you. It's a great place for growth. So check that out. Okay, window stickers. For you guys that were here last month, Scott and I got you guys a gift for Christmas. And they're nothing big, but it's a little window sticker. Guys like putting these things in their windows or on their toolbox or something. If you got one last month, let somebody else get one. Please just take one. We've got whatever's left in our box. If you want more, we can make arrangements to get you some. But if you didn't get one last month, Merry Christmas. Grab one of them. We'll set them out on the table over here. So we have cards here. There's Bible tracts. There's all kinds of things. We also have an invitation for this encounter that Scott was just talking about. I just checked this morning before I come over here. Late registration is still open, but it's probably not going to be that way long. It's not going to last. So if you guys are even remotely considering checking it out, what do we got? 31 guys going
31 guys.
this time. It's going to be awesome. 21 first-time new guys. And so, listen, even some of you old guys who's been, we got 21 guys that haven't. Come along and encourage them. But let's consider that. 26th through 28th of this month. And like I said, late registration is open, but who knows for how long. It might be shut by now. I don't know. We have cards up here too for this deal. It's got Scott and I's number on it, the address. Guys, those are your cards. Take them. Use them to bring guys out here. I'd be willing to bet that every one of you guys know 2 or 3 guys at least that you thought about bringing out here or you think might come out here. This is kind of a vehicle to help guys to maybe transition into encounter and then to come back in here and just keep growing this thing. Go.
How would you invite someone, what would you say to them for without freaking them out?
To come out to this deal?
Yeah.
You get biscuits and gravy, man. What else? You want to come eat breakfast with me? That'd be great. Yeah. Just
breakfast, fire, coffee.
I mean, what? Yeah. What else? I mean, it's
Because a lot of people
yeah.
don't want to talk to someone because they don't know how to approach them.
Right.
So, what would be the best thing?
Well, that's about as individual as the individual.
Yeah.
And so, if you've got somebody that you're interested in, uh, it's been a blessing. These guys have put us on YouTube. Guys got us on Facebook. You can refer them to those kind of things, and say if you really are that apprehensive about just coming out and eating biscuits and gravy with some rednecks, there you go. Uh-huh. Yeah.
You don't try to invite somebody because you're getting up at 6 o'clock early
Yeah.
in the morning to get out here. Give them your testimony.
Yes.
And when they hear what it's done for your life,
Yes.
how it's changed your life, then they're interested in coming and seeing what it's
Yeah.
all about.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's probably the best invitation you could say is here's what I'm getting out of it, and it's good. And I've been going back and that's the whole idea of it, guys. It's so I say that here on the cusp of the new year. Let's push a little bit this year. Let's get some guys out here. And it ain't about the numbers. You've heard Scott and I both say it. And this is not about just making big numbers and filling the shop. This is about getting guys to maybe turn their head and consider God where they haven't ever. But you know what? Your testimony to Jim's point, I mean, they see him in you. See, that's my thinking on this is if you're in a relationship with Christ and somebody you're talking to, visiting, maybe thinking about interacting or bringing them out here through an interaction, they can't not see him in you. And they may not be able to put their finger on it, but he's real, he's alive, and he lives inside of you. So have a little boldness. Push in there a little bit. I mean, what are they going to do, run?
Great.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to contradict you for just a second.
That's okay.
You said if you think you got somebody that might be interested, don't prejudge them.
That's fact.
If you see somebody and you're having a conversation or whatever, you don't know. You
Right.
don't know what that person's got going on. You don't know what
Right.
that person's thinking. I failed mind reading in school. I'll tell you that much. But just throw it out there. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the worst they're gonna do? Dot your I?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the approach I take in life is, what are they going to do? Eat you? I mean, really, what are they going to do? You're offering them something. You're offering them an opportunity is what you're really offering them.
The worst they can say is no.
That's right. And they might just say no once.
Yeah.
Next time might be a yes. You don't know. Stay after them. And so that would be my encouragement to you guys. Just be bold. Let's get some guys out here, not for numbers, but for their sake. Okay. Okay. I think that's about got it.
I think we went longer than we did last
we
time.
we always do. So anyway, I'll read you one Bible verse. It was on my Bible app this morning, and I thought it was pretty cool. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. Isaiah 60, verse 1. All right, guys.
Very good. Thank you, Joe.
You bet.
I did forget one thing. I was telling you, I have not got a bigger crock pot yet for the gravy. So if you take the last of the gravy, go get the other one that's in here. Because there's another pot of gravy in here on the warmer. So anyway, so don't run out of gravy. So Bill Hackworth is a good friend of mine, brother of mine, and I am excited to hear him talk this morning. I think he's excited. He's been telling me for a month now, boy, you're going to like what I got to say. So I'm excited. Speaks very well and a good guy. So here you go.
Thank you, brother. Yep. Good morning. This thing on? Yeah, it's on. I can hear it. Well, as he said, I'm Bill Hackworth. My story, and we've all got one. And we all try to change it sometimes. And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work because God has our path in his hand, and we're going to walk that path whether we like it or not. Back in September, October of 21, I was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. A lot of you guys was with me when I started that journey. And Terry, raise your hand. He was with me when I started, and he was with me when I finished. And you all saw me when I looked really rough. And I got through it. It'll never go away. I'll always have it. But, God's got it under control. So, that's my story in a nutshell. But I'm not here to talk about my story. There's another guy that had a story. And he had it a whole lot worse than I did in the end. But he stayed in his story. And I want you to remember that phrase, and because we're going to hear it quite a bit as we go through this. So since they talked for an hour and a half, we're going to go ahead and get started. And so, in Matthew 27, and verse 39 and 40, we find Jesus is on the cross. He's there. He's 33 years old. He's done his missions. But people are walking by and they're mocking him as they pass by. And they're looking at him and they're yelling at him and they're going, "You said you were going to destroy the temple and then rebuild it in 3 days. If you're really the Son of God, come down off that cross and save yourself." But here's what they didn't understand. And as a young man hearing that story, I didn't get it either. I totally didn't. Now that I'm older and I'm more in tune to God and I know what that was all about, these people are trying to make fun of Jesus for failing to deliver on a prophecy. You said you would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, and you failed. Look at you now. But the truth in all of that was that Jesus was never talking about a physical temple. It wasn't brick and mortar. It wasn't that at all. And as a young man, that's what I thought it was. I heard the story, I visioned it in my mind, and a building tears it down and somebody builds it back up. And that's not what it was at all. It was his body. It was his own body was the temple. And they just couldn't see that. That's what made him the Son of God. And that's probably not anything really necessarily new to most people, now. But if they'll think back when they're younger, they may be like me and they're like, "Yeah, I didn't realize that at the time." But while they were in the middle of trash talking Jesus for what they thought was him failing to deliver on a prophecy, Jesus was doing it right in front of them. He was right in the middle of doing it, the very thing that they was accusing him of not doing. He was actually doing right in front of their eyes. And they still didn't understand. And the Bible is just full of, they didn't understand. And he tried and tried and tried to show them, and they just didn't understand. Whether they didn't want to, or we know a lot of times they had the teaching. It was there. They just chose not to. They had free will, and they chose not to. Most of you probably would say that you knew that too, and you didn't miss that part either. But are we missing it in our own lives? The scripture should show us that in the middle of our own struggles, and it seems like God didn't come through on a promise that he made to us, he may actually be in the middle of doing it. He stayed in his story. Jesus didn't get up at 25 years old and go, "Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I'm out." How many times has we felt that way or even sometimes done that? We didn't stay in the story long enough to see where it was actually going. Because we're not driving that story. Jesus is driving that story. So our stories are not done yet. So we have to stay in our stories. We need to just, don't stop trusting. And don't stop believing, because that's, when we're believing and trusting Jesus, he's still at the wheel and he's still driving our story, because he just may be in the middle of the thing that we thought he forgot about. Jesus has never failed anyone. He's not going to fail any of us now. That's just not how it works. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good proof of that. I got hair again. I'm pretty happy about that. I let it grow pretty long there for a while, because I could. So to further this along, in Mark 5, verse 21, a man named Jairus, he asked Jesus to heal his dying daughter. Y'all probably remember that story. And of course, Jesus said, well, sure. He absolutely would. So, you can only imagine the relief that Jairus must have felt, I've got Jesus on my side. This is going to happen. And it's going to happen quickly. But on the way, a woman that had been bleeding for 12 years walked up and touched Jesus' robe. And she was healed instantly. Jesus stopped and had a conversation with her, and he listened to her story. For 12 years, this woman stayed in her story with the affliction that she had. So in the meantime, while this was all happening, someone came from Jairus' house, and he comes up to him and says, don't need to bother the teacher anymore. Your daughter is dead. So, you don't need that healing. Now, how would you have reacted to that? You had the man. You had him right there. All he had to do was walk to the house and heal your daughter. Most of us probably would have screamed and yelled. You promised. You promised to heal my daughter. But you stopped to heal someone else first. Could you have not waited 15 minutes? 15 minutes. Was she more important than I was? Do I not even matter at this point? We all probably feel that way sometimes. We have our prayers and we have things that we're asking for, and they just don't come as quick as we'd like them to come. To the point that we just want to scream. And I think we've all had some weeks like that, and maybe this past week, I know I have. But here's what Jairus does. Jairus says nothing. He doesn't say a word. He just stays in his story. He asks the man to heal his daughter, and he's staying with that. He's not giving up. He didn't throw his hands up, go angrily walking away. He stayed in his story. All Jairus wanted was a healing that day. But you know what he got? He got a resurrection. He got a resurrection. And how much better is that than just a healing? Because he stayed in his story. I'll leave you with this. Verse 36, Jesus says, don't be afraid, just believe. So if you only take away today from this is don't give up. Don't stop believing. Guys, stay in your stories. Whatever that is, good or bad, stay in it. God's got you. God's got you. Thank you all.